The Twins have some innings to replace this offseason, and maybe they go the trade route. We looked at that last time out. But if they go the free agent route, I've grabbed a list of 3 guys that I'm targeting if I'm in charge of the team. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to another edition of Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren, and you can find me on Twitter, though I don't think I would, at Brandon_WARNE. Thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As a reminder, we love to have this be an interactive show, so feel free to leave comments on Twitter, on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review, leave a subscribe, like, thumbs up, whatever the platform you have on allows you to say that we're doing a great job. Please do that. Now, if we're not doing a great job, I will continue to get better, and you can send me tips and or notes on Twitter. But other than that, we love to hear from you one way or another. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. So run on over to Sleeper and find out if you're in one of those 30 today. So we are again well into the offseason. I shouldn't say well into the offseason. We're into the offseason. We're not well into it in terms of distance, but I think we've all kind of had that come down period where it's season's over and we're ready to kind of take a look at analysis for what the Twins are going to do this offseason. We did 3 starting pitcher trade targets in the last episode. I highly encourage you to go back and listen to that if you haven't yet. And suggest your own too. And it doesn't mean those are the only 3. It doesn't even mean those are necessarily the top 3. It's 3 that I broke down. I don't want to ruin that too much, though. I'm going to let you go back and listen to it. We have a little bit of news, du jour news of the day before we dive into our 3 free agent starting pitching targets. Twins with 3 Gold Glove finalists as announced on Wednesday. Carlos Correa at shortstop, and then Pablo Lopez and Sonny Gray are finalists at pitcher, as is former Twin Jose Barrios. So all those years, we looked back wanting Jose Barrios to get credit for being such a good fielder. Now he's getting some love. He just isn't a Twin. 2 other notes. Sonny Gray is expected to be pursued by the St. Louis Cardinals. Katie Wu of The Athletic is reporting. Twins were a revenue-sharing team, so if he signs for $50 million or more with the Cardinals or whoever, the Twins would get a pick between round 1 and competitive balance round A. So a pick in that 30-something round range. So again, if Sonny Gray's not going to be back with the Twins, and I think it's more likely that he's gone than not, and probably by a fair amount. Him getting $50+ million, which would probably just be a 2-year deal, will benefit the Twins the most. So again, we'll see what happens there. Also, it looks as though the Red Sox are going to land on former Twins left-handed reliever Craig Breslow as their head honcho president of baseball operations. It was a point of discussion that Thad Levine it was reported he was interested in them. They were interested in him. Derek Falvey turned down the opportunity. Both of them have East Coast ties. But it's looking like neither of those 2 will be in that mix. Good for Craig Breslow, though, former left-hand reliever, Ivy Leaguer, and just generally regarded as a really smart baseball man. So good for him if that is to come to pass. The first target in free agency is one that Twins fans are no doubt going to be extremely, extremely familiar with. No promises here. The dog might start barking because the Amazon guy is delivering. So just so people know. No, I think we're all clear. Very good. Yeah, it's real and it's real and it's raw and it's live on Locked On Twins, folks. Don't you forget it. So Lucas Giolito, he's faced the Twins a lot. 135 and 2/3 innings pitched against the Twins, which are his most versus any team. 694 OPS. He is coming off an 8-10 record, 4.25 ERA. I take that back. 4.25 ERA against the Twins, 8-10 record against the Twins. He's coming off going 8-15 with a 4.88 ERA, tied for the AL lead in games started with 33, leads the AL in home runs allowed with 41, 10 strikeouts per 9, 2 homers per 9, 3.6 walks per 9, 5.27 FIP. So why would the Twins want this guy? Well, again, they've seen a lot of him, so they know what he's about. They know what he's all about, no question about it. They've seen him at his best. His best season probably would be 2019. He finished 6th in Cy Young balloting, 11.6 strikeouts per 9. He's always going to have a bit of a home run issue. He's allowed 1.5 home runs per 9 over his career. It is a 4.43 ERA over his career. So why do I want the Twins to sign Lucas Giolito? Well, first of all, no qualifying offer helps. It doesn't hurt the Twins in any way as far as draft compensation or anything. And he was bad enough down the stretch with not only the Angels, but Guardians, subsequent waiver claims, excuse me, that it should temper the interest in him at least a bit. He was good with the White Sox, 3.79 ERA in 121 innings. But that tough stretch where he went 2-9 with those next 2 teams in his 12 final starts bumped up his ERA more than a run. And he's coming off a 4.90 in 2022. So coming off back-to-back down seasons should keep the cost down. He is, though, going to be 29 next season. 29 he's 29 now. He'll turn 30 in July. Age 29 season. The divider for age seasons is the 1st of July. My mistake. But what I like about Giolito, age, for one, he's young enough and done enough in the major leagues where you get the sense that there could be something more there. And even if there's not, you still get the sense that if he can get back to who he was, that's a pretty good deal. Like, I mean, at his best, or like maybe like 75% of his best, he's a decent mid-rotation starter who you will not be embarrassed by. You could definitely start him in a playoff game. What else I like about him is he's not a fastball pitcher. Threw fastballs 41.9% of the time this year, all 4-seamers. He threw a slider 28% of the time, a changeup 28% of the time, and then the rest was curveballs, about 1.5%. So sliders and changeups. We know the Twins love sliders, and we know they love changeups. Enough fastballs to keep guys honest, but it gives me the thought that his pitch repertoire should age better because he's not reliant so much on a big fastball. 93.1 mile per hour average this year, which is perfectly respectable, but just not the kind of thing where you're going to say, hey, he throws 97 now. What's it going to look like when he throws 92? It's all about the changeup and the slider with him. The changeup gave up a batting average of 209 this season. The slider at 236. The curveball was pretty much a show-me pitch. He threw it fewer than 50 times. The slugging is high on all of his pitches. He gave up 19 homers on his 4-seam fastball, 13 on his changeup, and 9 on his slider. I think home runs are going to be an issue. But I think that's something you can work around. And if you get him down to league average, you might have a very nice, like, number 2 fringy ace starter. Like, his ceiling for me, and they're not the same kind of pitcher or anything, is like what Sonny Gray did this year, or Sonny Gray as a Twin. Very, very good pitcher. You got to give to get. In this case, it'd be probably a 4-year deal, unless he wants a shorter term deal to get back on his feet, which all the more would favor the Twins. But yeah, with Giolito, I like the fact that he doesn't have a QO. He has a track record of strikeouts. He's a fly ball pitcher, which the Twins seem to favor in this era. If there's any tweaks that can be made to get him to a better place with home runs, even again, just to league average, you've got a nasty, nasty pitcher. So, I don't know. Lucas Giolito, number 1 on the list. We're going to come back with number 2 on the list. It's another pitcher Twins fans are going to be familiar with, especially the last couple years. But first, let's talk about our friends at Sleeper. All right, so the MLB playoffs are here. It means you're running out of time, honestly, to make 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is now. You got young, exciting players in both championship series. You've got some mix of veterans. You've got all kinds of fun stuff. And it's the playoffs, so it's automatically going to be exciting. But you can take it to another level. You can pick more or less on stats for the players playing in these championship series. You got home runs, hits, strikeouts, all of that. And you do all these different ones. You can get up to 100 times payout on Sleeper. All you got to do, get your picks right, and you could win big. The app allows you to chat, trash talk. I know fantasy sports, especially this time of year, lots of trash talking going on. If you were a yearly fantasy baseball owner or player who did or didn't do well, there's still plenty of reason to keep playing, keep your skills sharp, keep yourself going, but also you can win. I mean, and win fast. This isn't that 6-month slog where you're trying to do something every single day. You can do something every single day. It's something different. So if you go on Sleeper, use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply, but you can see Sleeper's terms of use for details. Again, download the app and use the promo code LOCKEDON to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. All right, we're coming out of our first break, and we are so happy you're with us. It is absolutely a delight to get to share with you all every single day my Twins offseason plans, stretch them out, really dig into them. I want to hear what your plans are as well. If you think the Twins are going to sign Yamamoto, if you think the Twins are going to really make a big play for Shohei Ohtani, or maybe you just think the Twins are going to do a bunch of quiet stuff and work on what is a good but not perfect roster, I want to hear from you. So in the comments, let me know. Even if you disagree with what I'm doing, perfectly fine. In fact, we had a few people disagree, and I think even one person said they don't want anybody I picked in the most recent episode of Locked On Twins. So if you don't like my picks, perfectly reasonable. I'd love to hear from you who you like, and most importantly, why? Why do you like a guy that I maybe don't like? Why do I like a guy that you don't like? Let me know. All right, we are going to be coming back with an episode with former Twins minor leaguer Tom Hackemer. You will be able to hear from him. It'll be our Friday episode, technically. It will drop a little bit early, maybe late Thursday, but a lot of fun, getting excited to talk to him. Very interesting character who was in the Twins farm system for a bit there. Our second target is Eduardo Rodriguez, who is with the Detroit Tigers. It's pretty well documented. He's had a few things in the public eye. He missed time due to a family issue, which was later revealed that he was having marital stress, dealt with it. Okay. He had myocarditis after a bout of COVID in 2020. And he also opted to not be traded to the Dodgers at the deadline this year, instead choosing to stick with the Tigers down the stretch. And then he has the opportunity to opt out of his contract. 3 years, $49 million remaining on his deal. He turns 31 in April. So I think it's pretty blatantly obvious he's going to opt out. He might go back to Detroit, and that's that. I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing the fact that at 3 and 49, he's going to stick. There's just no way. He's going to be one of the very best pitchers on the marketplace. Still, I mean, relatively young. Sonny Gray's in his mid-30s, and this is a guy 3-4 years younger. So there's going to be lots of people after Sonny. There's definitely going to be lots of teams after Edrod. No qualifying offer. He got a qualifying offer from the Red Sox when he signed with the Tigers. You can only get the QO one time, so you don't have to worry about that. And as weird as it sounds, he has since throwing 200 innings in 2019, he has thrown 401 and a third innings between 2020, 21, 22, 23. Now, 2020, he didn't pitch, so we don't really count that. That still puts him in an average of about 130 innings for the last 3 years. 31 starts, 17, and then 26. Now, we are fairly well documented. He was dealing with personal stuff in 22. If we look at the rest of his career, though, it's been 20 starts a year, 25 starts a year, 30 starts a year, and then on pace for that many starts in 2022. You have a pretty dependable, sturdy left-handed starter who, at times can have some questions with walks, but honestly is really, really good in that respect. Doesn't give up homers, below average rate for pretty much his entire career. And again, this just looks like a dependable number 2/3 left-hander who, if for any reason takes a step forward, is an ace. Twins took that gamble, and I would say won with Pablo Lopez, who took another step this year. And I think they're looking to do it again. I think they're looking to do it always. The we can fix him Twins is kind of my mantra for them. And I think as much as Rodriguez was great this year, I mean, he's a 3.5 win pitcher on Baseball Reference and 3.0 on Fangraphs. I think teams are going to believe that they may be able to take him to another level. He's a fastball cutter changeup guy. So I don't know if that cutter sinker, if his cutter slider mix is where it's going to stay. He throws a cutter slider about 20-25% of the time combined. Obviously, that'll split up differently, but we know how much the Twins like sliders. So that could be a tweak, but he likes the changeup. Twins do not have much in the way of left-handed pitching for their rotation. Basically none. And I don't know how much that matters. I don't know if the Twins would look at a left-handed and a right-handed Eduardo Rodriguez, two identical pitchers, and say, hey, we want the left-handed version. Granted, career average fastball 93, plays better from the left side than the right. But if you had two identical pitchers, I think, do you take the lefty over the righty? I don't know, but it is a different look. So I do see some benefit in that. Otherwise, strikeouts have been a big part of his career, not so much in Detroit. 7.1 strikeouts per 9 in 2022, 8.4 this year. Certainly not horrible numbers, but just not really keeping up with the trend in baseball, whereas his last year in Boston was 10.6. But the strikeouts are there. And if you can put a decent defense behind him, he's not heavily reliant on the grounder or the fly ball, but he's balanced both in his career. So I feel like he could probably tailor it to, wherever the team that he signs with is stronger, which is interesting to me. I like to see guys who it varies with, because I think then, they can, they can do some things to change their identity based on who they pitch for and what that team's strengths are. Now, with that said, I don't know if he would have interest in the Twins or not. Basically, money talks, and it's probably going to have to be, he's 31 in April, so early opening day-ish, age 31 season, a 5-year deal would take him through his age 35 season, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I always get mixed up with counting years when there's the gaps and everything there. It'll take him through his 35 season. So I could see a 5-year deal. He signed for $5 and $77 the first time around. I would guess $5 and $100 is probably what is going to be the starting number. So if the Twins feel comfortable with that, I don't know if he's the kind of guy you want to go $100 million to, but if you as a team identify something in there that you really, really, really like, and there's a lot to like here, then I don't think it's unreasonable. So we've got Lucas Giolito, we've got Eduardo Rodriguez, and we'll come back with our final pitcher, and it's one we've been seeing quite a bit of lately. But first, let's give some love to our friends over at Jase. Our friends at Jase Medical want to make sure that you are prepared for a lot of the uncertainty in the world. Now, you don't have to look far in a newspaper or TV news or anything like that to see that the world is an unpredictable place. There's unrest in the Middle East. There were the fires in Hawaii. There's hurricane season. There's all these things, earthquakes. These can lead to supply chain shortages for medication and the inability to get medications in a timely manner. Both of those things are very, very important if you come down with something. Now, Jase Case is a personalized emergency medication kit that contains 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. And I actually have mine handy. So if you are watching on the show, I'll move it into the light. There we go. Mine is kind of like a seafoam green, and it's got a bunch of different little things. One is a Z-Pack. At this time of year when I'm getting sick, a Z-Pack is perfect. You know, if you're dealing with something cold, flu, cough, it's that time of year in Minnesota. But you can also customize your case and add additional life-saving medications based on your unique needs. So it's customizable to fit you or your family's needs. They're constantly working to offer more medications, different medications, and lots of different things here. And you can also get a gift card. Buy a gift card for family or a loved one, so they can get a Jase case of their own. They don't even have to pick it out for themselves. You can take care of it. Go to jasemedical.com and enter the code LOCKEDON at checkout for $20 off your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON at jasemedical.com. Okay, we are coming down the home stretch, and we are happy you have decided to join us. Tom Hackemer episode releasing before the end of the week. We'll be talking to the former Twins relief pitching prospect. Should be a lot of fun. We'll probably have a couple prospect guys in here, but working on some interviews, working on some off-season content. This is going to be your one-stop shop for off-season content. And if you have ideas, if you have things you would like to see covered, I'm all ears. At Locked On Twins, at Brandon_Warren, hit the DMs. They are open. Now, our final pitcher is actually pitching in the ALCS as we speak. Not as I'm recording because it's morning time, but you understand what I'm saying. He's a lefty. Former Yankee. And if you ever wanted proof that Brian Cashman might actually be in over his head, he traded a good, not only good, very good lefty. Now, he traded him for a center fielder and a good one in Harrison Bader. But with that said, it would be a much better position for the Yankees to be in to have a QO to offer Montgomery, which I'd be shocked if they did with Bader. There's no way. Actually, you know what? I'm an idiot. He was traded. He was traded to the Reds, you moron. He can't be offered a QO. But I digress. Cashman making that trade, it's just another case of Cashman wanting one back. Just like the Donaldson trade. Just like, I don't know, there's a few of them. Probably the Giancarlo Stanton trade, honestly. Now, I've honed in on Montgomery for a couple reasons. Montgomery, just a dang good pitcher. I mean, there's no reason not to want him on your team in the first place. He's a 4-win pitcher by Baseball Reference last season. FanGraphs had him even better at 4.3. He's been pretty good in the postseason. Not a lot of strikeouts, but everything else is good. But I think even more importantly, and we always like to give some love to Jeff Passan. He had a tweet. I'm going to read the whole tweet because Twitter's free and you can go read it if you want as well. But it's about Jordan Montgomery's death ball. So it's a curveball, but different. Jordan Montgomery's death ball, and by extension, how modern pitching works, explained. And again, this is a quote from Jeff Passan. I'm not taking any credit for any of this. I just want to get out there and explain why I'm so excited about the potential of signing Jordan Montgomery. The raw spin and break data on Montgomery's curveball is nothing special, but it has certain characteristics that, when paired with his fastball, can make it a truly elite pitch. The question for all pitchers is how to find that. For Montgomery, it's all about marrying an elite vertical approach angle, the steepness in which the ball enters the zone, with mystifying tunneling. Now, what do I mean by tunneling? The concept when pitchers release different pitches around the same place, and there's not much a better proof of this than Montgomery's fastball and curveball in all of baseball. He shares some charts from ESPN Stats and Info that illustrate the visual and numeric difference. His release point on his fastballs is the highest in baseball, and his release on his curveball is the second highest. Both of them about 80, 81 inches, and the horizontal release point is about the same too. So because of that, the ball comes out of his hand. It looks like a fastball. The late break is more like a slider than a curve, makes it an absolute jerk of a pitch. He learned it or worked on it at Tread Athletics with Tyler Zombro, and it's going to be really curious to see where he goes from here. So that curveball, we're going to go into the lab here. 22.2% of the time he throws it. Opposing batters hit, let me make sure I get the right exact thing here, 191. 357 slugging percentage. 5 of the 18 home runs he allowed. His two-seam fastball allowed a 255 average and 374 slugging. And he threw it twice as often as anything else he threw. Changeup, 239 batting average. Four-seam fastball, 333. Probably could scrap that, but he's got good velo for a lefty. 93, 94 with a fastball. Curveball down at 80. Changeup at 83. So there is some differential in terms of how he mixes and matches velos and that sort of thing. But the fastball, especially the two-seamer, being a pitch that he has been able to keep slugging percentage down, especially. I mean, with a sinker, usually it means that they're getting the ball to be driven into the ground. Doesn't result in extra base hits. The hits it does are singles, low slugging percentage. It all kind of explains itself. This year, opposing batters hit, I'm trying to pull 3-7. So if you look at it, his ground ball rate on his sinker this year, 50.2%. For his career, 49%, but he's been above 50 each of the last 3 seasons. So can you put a good defense behind him and catch the baseball? You can get a ton of double plays. But with that said, he's not as heavy a ground ball guy as you might expect for someone with such good numbers on his sinker. 43.6% career ground ball rate. 36.2 this year with Texas. No, I take that back. 43.2 with Texas. 36.2 is postseason. I feel like the FanGraphs pages during the postseason are a little wonky, but hang with me here. Low 40%. He can get grounders when he needs to, but he's not like a 55%, 50% ground ball guy like Kyle Gibson. He's like if Kyle Gibson was left-handed and a little better, but maybe a little less reliant on the grounders. So basically, he's not Kyle Gibson at all, I guess. But if you get a guy who doesn't walk anybody, doesn't give up homers, he hasn't had homer issues in years, I think, 8.5 strikeouts per 9 is still plenty. It's from the left side. Turns 31 in December, so still fairly young. Can't get the QO because he's been with 2 teams this season. Didn't spend the whole season. He was with St. Louis before, Texas after. So none of these guys listed today have qualifying offers, which is huge. If the Twins are going to be cautious about spending money this offseason, which some people think they are because of the TV stuff, not having qualifying offers should help some of that because the Twins will be able to retain draft picks besides. Now, the counter to that is if that makes other teams bid higher, and it might, you kind of fall back into, well, then what's the budget look like? I'm not going to talk too much about budget this offseason because I don't think it's very telling when we don't know where the games are going to be broadcast and what those broadcast rights are going to look like. I'm not going to just assume the Twins are going to lose that broadcast money and not recoup some of it somehow, some way, because it's just not realistic. So we'll stay away from the budget talk for the most part, but any one of these 3 guys would be absolutely perfect for the Twins rotation moving forward. Would allow the Twins to, maybe trade for whoever they want as kind of their hybrid center field backup plan for Byron Buxton, whether it's a Michael A. Taylor type or someone from a different cut of cloth. We'll see what happens there. But that is what we have for you on this edition of Locked On Twins. Don't go away, though. We are going to have Tom Hackemer with us here later today, and a lot of fun stuff coming around the bend here. Going to be a fun offseason for the Twins. They have a lot of questions to answer, and we're going to try and answer them. So, hey, thanks for hanging out. This is Locked On.